Welcome back to Beernid 40k. I was recently asked if I could do a quick video on Necrons in Kill Team, so here we are. Now with Necrons, you need to play to their strengths, and the biggest strength that they have is reanimation protocols, where death is not necessarily the end because an injury roll is just as likely to heal a Necron or result in a flesh wound than it is to kill the model. It's actually more likely to result in something else besides death. In fact, because of this, Necrons are one of the only kill teams where it's a bad idea to take multiple damage weapons, because each time a 6 is rolled, the Necron goes back to full health like nothing ever happened. So if you're doing a 2 damage weapon against them, you're rolling 2 injury dice, which means more chances for those 6s to show up. This stacks very well for the Necron player with things like obscured penalties, which not only make your models harder to hit, but if your Necron is within 1 inch of obscuring terrain, the injury roll, if it even gets there, is at a -1, meaning you only go out of action on a 5, because if they roll a 1 through 4, you take a flesh wound now, whereas if they roll that 6, you just trigger reanimation protocols and go right back to full health. This makes the team feel absolutely relentless to play against, since they can just get warriors and immortals into cover early, and you can only really dig them out once every 6 wound rolls statistically before things like flesh wounds are added. They also have a decent 3-up to 4-up save to begin with, which can be complicated to add AP to, since a lot of weapons with good AP also tend to come with multiple damage, which again is actually good for the Necron's reanimation protocols. So all in all, this means they're just very survivable with all of this stacking. So the big thing to do with warriors and immortals is get them to cover, hopefully near enough to an objective to score and close enough to cover to also make them only go out of action on that injury roll of 5. Between obscured penalties and a good save and their RP shenanigans, they will be very hard to kill. They also have some of the best LD in the game, with leadership 10 making them very hard to shake or break. As for their weapons, because Gauss Blasters, Gauss Flares, and Teslas are just better weapons than a Synaptic Disintegrator, I would personally leave the death marks at home most of the time. If you see it in a different way, let me know. Maybe there's something I haven't seen, but everything else is just better, and there's not a lot to them, so I don't like them very much. However, one unit that regularly gets talked about in a negative light that I don't agree with. Now, you look online, people say flayed ones are bad, which I like flayed ones despite what other people say. If you look at people doing well with Necrons and Kill Team, they all have flayed ones in the roster. In fact, most good players keep enough in there to run the full 10-man kill team of them if needed. They have 3 attacks base re-rolling failed wound rolls, and a combat or zealot spec can easily get to 4 attacks each at strength 4. This makes them great against things like Imperial Guard or other shooty teams that like to bring plasma normally and have a low save and bad leadership. If they bring plasma, you just laugh in reanimation protocols, and either way, even if they don't, you still just veteran move up a guy in the first round to add pressure and get in combat early. Necrons also have a great tactic to use with these guys especially, which is the Mind Shackle Scarabs. It lets you shoot the opponent's own guns against their own models. Again, versus shooty teams, you want to look to make charges, but you can be kind of savvy and look to make charges that get you within 6 inches of something like a flamer that you can take over. Because is the enemy checking if they're out of range from their own guys? Probably not. Since this can only go off though within 6 inches of the gun you want to shoot, I personally feel that flayed ones are the perfect vehicle for this, since it's their job to get in close, whereas things like immortals and warriors do best in midfield, camped in cover, and or holding objectives and still shooting. So that's my quick summary of the Necrons in Kill Team. Keep to cover with your shooters. Consider leaving the death marks at home. Take warriors and immortals versus elite teams, but take flayed ones versus T3 gunlines. Now, if you're going against hordes, take a mix against them. And I think you'll be surprised at how well this team that others call low tier can be. They just made it to the finals in LVO, so there's some proof right there that they're good. So that's it. I know this is quick, but short on time, and just wanted to get this answered. I hope you liked this quick rundown, and be sure to like and subscribe if you did. My question is, did this help you, or do you see something different, or perhaps something that I left out? Let me know about it if this is the case, because your thoughts and your comments might just help another Necron player. So be sure to share. And with that, this is Beernid 40k, signing off until next time.